My question was like, why do you think that society likes to look down or make fun of somebody for being a virgin?
That's right. Okay. So a lot of people who I feel like a lot of people that were raised in that church culture, and I say church loosely because it's the building church, not the body of Christ church, that were raised in that culture where everything was a shame. Um, I know people who I know a girl that I went to school with. Um, she was so embarrassed and she waited till she was married, but she was so embarrassed when like she felt so dirty, even though she waited till she got married. After being with her husband, she felt dirty just because church culture has made it like sex is this horrible thing. You shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it. But we don't talk about, and what a lot of people are so uncomfortable talking about, is the fact that, yeah, sex is enjoyable. God made it. I don't think that God would make something for us to do, and it's automatically a horrible thing. It's what we do with it that makes it bad. So like I joke and I tell people, when I do get married, my husband better be ready because we got, 20 years of making up, or 15 years, not really 20 years, 15 years of making up, 10 years making up, making up for the stuff that we've missed out over the years. But and I say we, I'm not saying that God's going to give me a virgin as a husband. I'm not saying that at all. But I know I've got some making up to do. But I think that it's a part of it, not all of it, but part of it is a pushback against that church culture. And the other part of it is, like I said, Sodom and Gomorrah. It's wicked, it's evilness, it's the devil doing what he does best, going in and manipulating things and weaving his lies and placing his doubts in there. Did God really say that sex is bad? Did God really say that you shouldn't do this? Did God really say, well, I mean, the Bible does say this, but what exactly does that mean? I think that it comes straight from the pits of hell, because this is, I'm probably might get a little off topic here, but this world isn't going to stand much longer. And I'm not saying, I mean, it could be here another 100 years, but we are closer today than we've ever been to Jesus coming back. And that was true of yesterday. Before, I mean, it it is true that the longer this goes on, the closer we are to Jesus coming back. And the Bible is very clear on how things are going to get in the world before the end comes. And it's going to get steadily worse and worse and worse and worse. That's what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah before God zapped them out of existence. They got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And they became this really wicked and evil countries, these wicked and evil cities. I don't know if Sodom and Gomorrah were countries or cities, but either way, they became very wicked and very evil. And not just in the sense of sex, but in the sense of theft, in the sense of oh man, I can't think. My brain's not working. In the sense of theft, but also in the sense of like the people that were in power taking advantage of those that you know were considered the poor, and I think that at the center of all of that, and at the center of the way society has such a push now for people to just go on and get it over with, it all is rooted in evil that comes straight from Satan.
That's a really good answer. I totally agree with that. That a lot of it just all roots back to Satan being in the middle of the whole mess, and really both ways. I feel like Satan can he can of course give you that temptation to, or unless he wants you to fall into that temptation to give into having sex with anybody and everybody, because and that's where he kind of twists the idea. Like, of course, we know in the Bible that like God talks highly of sex between a husband and a wife, and that it is a good thing, and it gets misinterpreted. Like Satan will take that statement and basically throw it into somebody's, mind and basically tell them like, see, God says sex is good, but then he misses out the part where it's like, yeah, between husband and wife. So like he'll throw that kind of confusion, give you a little half truth, but then a half lie. So which a half lie is still just a lie in general. So, he'll do that. And then also, you know, we as people, or like the church, as in like, people in the church, will have this like idea of, sex being so terrible. And I feel like that I even like I can kind of relate to that story because I didn't really grow up going to church up until I was like 18. I started going to church, but I was in like my first relationship when I was 18. And so I was kind of like late to the game. I never really was like caring that much to being in a relationship, and I really didn't even like care like throughout middle school and high school about like the idea of having sex. Maybe I was actually more some reason, I guess God blessed me with not having that temptation at the time. But anyways, I was in my first relationship when I was 18, and the ex-girlfriend, well, she's now definitely my ex-girlfriend that I was with, she had this I guess she had this picture of what, like a different picture of what I was actually thinking of, like when it comes to sex, because I think one thing she told me while we were dating is that she wanted more affection. And what I took out of it as like, okay, well, I'm giving you affection in the way that is at least honorable, to where I'm not giving my body away to you. Like I'm at least, giving hugs, kisses, cuddling, stuff like that, but not really taking it and holding hands, stuff like that, but not nothing farther than that. Well, so just not giving my body away to her. And I guess I was thinking that's basically what she was wanting. And that's kind of what led, I feel like, to me being cheated on, because I feel like I was not giving her what she was wanting. And I guess I kind of led to where I was, had to break it off. And then I got back with the girl about, 2 or 3 years later. And I feel like that the topic kind of came up again about, because then she started saying stuff like you just think sex is gross. And I was like, I didn't say like sex is gross. I'm just saying that like sex, just having sex with anybody and everybody is not good. Like and according to the word, like I want to have sex with my future wife. Like I don't see the problem in that. But she kind of twisted that to where I guess kind of like you were mentioning that, there's the whole, preaching on, sex is bad, even though God talks highly of it between man and wife. So I think she kind of took that just because she knew at that point I was, going to church, on a normal basis. I consider myself a Christ follower, and she did too, which was kind of the crazy thing of it all is that, she said that she was a Christ follower, she would go to church and all of this. But then she kind of like wanted to twist that idea, that thinking that I said that sex is gross and like nasty, and it's like, no, like that's not even the point. Like that wasn't even like my like what I felt about it at all. So I feel like there was a lot of that. And then I feel like society likes to look down on it. Like one reason, like I know you even mentioned, is that like the whole idea of being defiant. There's that, of course, rooting back to Satan. The Satan wants people to be rebellious and defiant for the wrong reasons. Of course, there always is a sometimes. I mean, there are times where we have to stand up for our faith, which is good. But in this case, standing like trying to go against the church by just giving in to anybody and everybody is kind of the way it's been going, and it's been trending, and it's been going like wildfire. It's been spreading like crazy. So everybody likes the idea of being defiant and rebellious and going kind of against the church in this case. And then as far as making fun of someone for being a virgin, I feel like people, like to think that, oh, you're a loser. And, people like to think that if you're not having sex with somebody, then you must be a loser, or you must not be attractive, or you must just have, like, there must be something wrong with you. You must like I said, they'll just start throwing all these crazy accusations out there, and that's not the case because I'm sure I've had, I mean, I'm not sure, I know I've had opportunities where I could have easily have given in to sex, like with that ex-girlfriend, for example. I could have easily just said, you know what, you're right. I'm going to show you that sex isn't gross to me. So, like I could have easily done that and said that. But but I think it's just a lot of it stems back to the self-control, and just I feel like God has given me a lot of that self-control, thankfully, to where I have not fallen into that. So yeah, I think people just like to talk down on people that are virgins just because they feel like, oh, you don't get all the girls, or you're not, you must be, you're uglier than me if you can't get with this girl or this girl, and if you don't have a list of girls that you've been with, then yeah, you must be. There's two things I feel like it comes out with that. It's, like either you're a loser, or you must be gay if you can't get with a girl. So it's like no, like that. I've had opportunities to where people will, I'll get random messages from people, and I'll have to definitely block some people because some people can be creepy out there. Like people that I've met
Oh,
on online dating, whoo, creepy.
I just want to let you know my pastor's wife is walking up here, so if she says something to me, we'll say
Okay.
hey. But
Okay.
you said something on there a second ago. I can't remember exactly how you said it, but is when you were saying that she was, pretty much saying that if you really cared about her, is that, did I misunderstand that? That if you really cared about her, that you would do that for her? Did I misunderstand that?
Well, basically, yeah, it did seem like that's kind of what the message that she was like trying to imply, that it just sounded like she wanted that affection to, for me to show her that affection and to get with her, basically. I mean, she never said like those words exactly, but I feel like that implying, because like I feel like I was giving her everything but that, but she still wanted more. So I was
Yeah,
feeling like that's the only thing that's like left off the list.
I understand. There was I had a I guess you said that we were friends, we were acquaintances. She's about to crank her vehicle up. But we were friends, we were acquaintances, but he asked me one time, he said, if you're he was wanting someone to just help him get it over with. And he told me, he was like, well, if you're my friend, then we can do this together and help each other out. And I was like, that's not how that works. So that's why I was making sure that I understood what you were saying right about her, because it made me think of that. And I was like, just because we're friends doesn't mean that I'm willing to do that just to get it over with. So but yeah.
Yeah, there are people out there that I feel like there's like even a movie like or something like that where it sounds like there's, two people that have not done it yet and just thinking like, oh, like we'll just do it together and just to say we've done it. Like even if you weren't physically attracted to that person, we'll just, do it, and so that we can be on the cool list of being non-virgins, that like we've gotten with somebody, we scored that one point for us. So 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 there is a lot of crazy things out there in this world. So the